I'm standing outside my car crying. My son Arthur is inside the car, awake, wide awake. I can't get him to sleep. Even at 9 months old, he isn't sleeping more than 2 hours in a row, and he won't sleep in his own bed. I am chronically sleep deprived. Driving him around is the only thing I can think of doing, but I don't trust myself to get into the car. I'm crying too hard. I sob. I cry because I just lost my shit and screamed at my 9-month-old. I cry because even though I have 16 years of experience in social work and a bunch of academic degrees, I can't get my baby to sleep. I cry because this tiny human placed in my care needs the best version of me, and I'm giving him the worst. Keep looking around at all the other moms who seem to have it all together and they're actually happy, and I wonder what is wrong with me. I tell myself to suck it up, stop being such a wimp, but I can't find a way out of this darkness that is both anger and despair. It's self-loathing and shame. My husband pulls into the driveway and he sees me standing there. All I can do is blurt out some blubbery mess of a story about how there must be something horribly wrong with Arthur, and there is definitely something fucked up about me. My husband simply wraps me up in his arms. He doesn't tell me I'm acting crazy. He doesn't turn around and walk away or ignore me. In this complete meltdown, I made a bid for connection, and he turned toward me. Today, I want to share with you how I transformed my motherhood out of a pit of fear and worry into hope and delight through the use of bids for connection. This is a story of how I started out a mother feeling out of control and angry and became a much calmer mother. This is also a story of how I shifted a lifelong pattern of anxiety, starting from as young as age 8. I became not just a better mother, but a woman with an identity outside of motherhood filled with hope, excitement, and joy. A bid for connection is any attempt a person makes to receive support, attention, or other form of emotional connection. And I knew from the research done by John and Julie Gottman that bids for connection can predict the strength and longevity of a relationship. Although small and seemingly mundane, they are the building blocks of love. I forgot how important they were, though, until the next day when my husband comes up to me and he says, "I miss you." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm here all the time." And he says, "No, I miss hugging. You don't hug me anymore." Oh, that hurt my heart. I'd been so focused on trying not to mess up my kid that I'd forgotten to hug my husband. What the heck? For 10 years before this baby, we had nurtured our relationship through these small moments of making and receiving bids for connection, and now our relationship seemed to be falling apart. Bids for connection are like the maintenance needed for your house. If you don't do things like repair the roof or fix cracks in your stucco or paint, your house will eventually break down. Same thing for relationships. If you do not respond effectively to bids for connection, your relationship will, over time, break down. When my husband told me that he missed me and I responded by asking him what he meant, I turned toward his bid for connection. I sent him a message of love back. If I had frowned or rolled my eyes or ignored him, or worse, attacked him for it, I would have missed a really important moment of connection and probably squelched further attempts from him. As I slowly strengthened my relationships by refocusing on giving and receiving bids for connection, I was able to get the rest I needed. And that allowed me to respond much more calmly and mindfully to my baby. This was a huge relief. I was very grateful. But something was still not right. I could still feel the clenching of anxiety in my belly. I kept worrying about everything. I felt trapped in my own life, a life that both bored me and stressed me out. I had fantasies of jetting off to Europe to escape. I felt as if I was missing something important. Almost as if I had lost the meaning to my life or the best part of me, and I was desperately searching to find it again. I kept asking myself, is this it? Is this as good as it's gonna get? I realized that I could keep focusing on these bids for connection. You see, love is spelled out in these moments. And it's up to us to recognize them for what they are and nurture them. Bids for connection can be so very subtle, as small as a touch on the hand, a glance being held for just a beat longer than usual, a show of interest in something your partner is saying or doing. When we respond to a person and turn towards them, we are telling them that we really are safe in each other's arms. And I had done this, I had nurtured this with my relationships. When a friend offered to drop by with lunch, instead of turning her away, I accepted her offer, seeing it as a chance for connection. When my sister called and asked me how I was doing, I told her I wasn't doing so great. Even with all this support, I still felt like something wasn't right. So I kept searching. And over time, an idea kept returning to me. What if I am in a relationship with life, just like I'm in a relationship with my husband or my son? What if I could take this idea of bids for connection that helped to strengthen my relationship, but apply it in a much bigger way? What if life is making bids for connection with me all along? But I didn't notice because I wasn't looking. In other words, what if I was experiencing fear and anxiety because I was turning away from opportunities to connect with the world and life around me? What if it was this disconnection that was making me feel small and powerless? And what if I could change that into experiencing hope, care, support, and joy? I had to reimagine my life, almost as if I was entering into a new loving relationship with a person. When we choose to be in a new relationship, we all risk experiencing hurt and pain, right? We all know the risk, but we do it anyway. So when I could think about my relationship with life like this, I could see that I needed to build trust with life, just like I'd built trust with my husband while we dated. Experiencing successful bids for connection over and over again in a relationship builds trust, and so that's what I needed to do with life. Eventually, I saw a bid for connection when a local advertisement posted an opening for a part-time job as a school librarian. I applied my bid for connection lens and asked, is this a new opportunity? Now, previously, I never would have dreamed of quitting a full-time job with full-time pay and benefits to take on a part-time job and very part-time pay. But I realized that just as in a relationship, you not only have to be open to bids for connection, but you have to have trust. And so I decided my response to life needed to be trust. And I quit my job. As soon as I quit, I was full of doubt and fear. I almost threw up. And my mind went into total freak out mode. In my mind, I would quit my job, and then we wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage, and because of that, we would go bankrupt and lose the house, and because of that, my husband would probably lose his job, and because of that, we would have to live out of my car, a Honda CR-V, and my husband is a very tall man, and he is not going to fit. Plus, Child Protective Services frowns on living in a car with a baby, and that could be bad, very bad. Does your mind ever do this to you? But I chose to trust life anyway. And guess what? I got that part-time job. It was perfect for being a mom and keeping my mind healthy. We still live in our house, and we even managed to pay off another vehicle. Every single day, I am grateful for that decision. A decision I had the courage to make because I looked for and responded to life's bid for connection. This way of viewing the world was so new. It felt fresh and exciting and juicy. It made me feel curious rather than worried about what would happen next. I learned that how we respond to life's bids for connection needs to be open and flexible. Sometimes it might be noticing beauty. Other times it might be keeping your mind open to an opinion different from your own. Responding to life's bids for connection could be taking a leap of faith and trying something new, as it has been for me. In this process of looking for and responding to life's bids for connection, I took the advice of a friend and signed up for a crash course for how to create an online business. Last year, I did the most exciting thing yet. I launched a business coaching first-time moms. It's work I love and I'm passionate about. I'm so amazed at this life. I want to tell you about a client I once had. Her husband was deployed, and she felt so alone as a mother. She was bone deep exhausted, and she felt incredible guilt if she did not give everything she had to her 2 young children. So I asked her to think about this idea for the next week. Just wonder, what if life is making bids for connection with you even when you feel alone? A week goes by, she comes back, and she tells me, my life sucks and your idea is crap. So I ask her, when you were a little girl, did you ever make believe? And she thought for a minute, and she says, yes. I used to go out into the woods and make believe that I was a princess and I had a unicorn. So I asked her, how did you feel when you were playing? And she said, happy. You knew the unicorn wasn't real, right? She's like, well, yeah, but you still felt happy? She says, yes. So then I ask her, what if just for now you make believe that life is making bids for connection to you? Just pretend and see what happens. Another week goes by, and I ask her how it went. She told me that it felt pretty silly at first. But then one day, instead of focusing on the long to-do list in her mind, she noticed a bird flying by, and she decided to pretend that was a bid for connection. So she took her 2 girls, and they followed that bird into the forest, and they discovered some beautiful wildflowers. She told me that made her feel hope. And that was beginning. Seeing the world differently allowed her to feel less alone, less isolated, less guilty, more connected to others and the world around her. This is a picture of my son, Arthur, and I this past winter, one afternoon when we stopped by a local coffee shop. I ordered a cup of water for Arthur, and he climbs up into his big person chair, and pretty soon he's drinking out of it with both hands, slurping away, smacking his lips, just enjoying this cup of water like I have never seen anyone enjoy a cup of water. When it came time to go, he was so attached to his water that I decided to let him carry it out across the street to our car. The problem was getting across the large intersection on his tiny toddler legs in the short time that walk sign says walk. So he has that cup of water tucked under one arm, and he's holding onto my hand with the other, and we go running across the street as fast as his legs can toddle, and all the water is splashing up into his face and down the whole front of him, and I'm just laughing my head off. And I look up and I make eye contact with this man in the truck, and we share this moment of pure laughter and delight. Such an exquisite moment. And it's in moments like these that I realize I am not that woman standing outside of her car crying. I have become a mother, a woman of joy, delight, and power. Instead of that awful, tight anxiety in my belly, I feel a tingly warmth in my heart. Looking back, I can see how every decision I made to turn toward a bid for connection from my son, my husband, my friends, from life, has beautifully, almost magically, created a life full of moments like these. It all starts with a bid for connection. Thank you.